Today I am going to talk about my Jane Austen haul. Hi everyone, as you know, I have become a fanatic for Jane Austen. I fell head over heels for Pride and Prejudice, but mostly I fell in love with the great, amazing, beautiful illustrations in this incredible Classics Reimagined. Yes, I did. I also discovered that I have a great love for Jane Austen, that I really love her writing, especially as a writer myself. I found her writing to be so enticing, so drawing, just bringing me into the story. And one of the things that I love about Jane Austen is that everything revolves around the dialogue. That's an amazing thing that a lot of authors can't do today. The descriptions are just amazing. They are creative and unique. You don't see a lot of descriptions made the way that Jane Austen did back then. There weren't a lot of people to say, and they looked like so-and-so, and then you could leave it like that. And a lot of authors today will describe their characters looking like a famous person so that it gives the reader an idea of someone that they can relate to. However, with Jane Austen, we didn't have that at that time. She made the descriptions of each person absolutely beautiful, and you can visualize them in your head. Of course, it did help to have a lot of the illustrations already there for you to kind of get a picture of maybe what they could have looked like. So you do get that, which was really nice, and I did love this book. I really got into this book a lot and decided that Jane Austen was now my new favorite author, and I really wanted to read more of her. I was thinking of joining a classic book club at the library, and this month they were going to be doing a classic about politics. I was going to venture into War and Peace, which is very thick. If you don't know, it's about 1,000 pages long. But then I started talking to two of my really good friends who were always commenting on anything I was posting on Facebook about Pride and Prejudice. It got to be this funny thing where I said, we should just create a Jane Austen book club. And my two friends were totally into it. So what we did is we decided that we were going to read a Jane Austen book every month. And my best friend Anne decided upon Emma. I really wanted a beautiful book, but at the time I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on another book. However, as you know, I did get this one fairly inexpensive, but these books are really expensive. They're like $30 a piece because of the illustration and the beautiful graphics in these books. And this is, as you can see, a soft cover, which I absolutely love as well. I love a soft cover. I love the flexibility that you have with it. So when we decided that we were going to do Emma, I realized that I wanted another book that was comparable to this version of Pride and Prejudice, which is incredibly difficult to find when you don't know what you're looking for. So I did a lot of research and I came up empty-handed. I really couldn't find a whole lot of illustrated Emma books or illustrated Jane Austen books. And if I did, I would find them with the original illustrator. And that was pretty cool to find. The problem was, is it was really expensive. So what I did is I took my Kindle and I decided that I needed to start reading at least until I could find the book that I really fell in love with and wanted to keep. So I downloaded Emma off of Amazon Kindle, and then I actually went to LibriVox. You have to go to LibriVox. They have so many books there that are audio recorded for free. And Emma was one of those books that was recorded by a name, I want to say her name is Elizabeth Cleet. She's beautiful. She does a beautiful job narrating Emma. She does have an American accent, but when she does the dialogue, she goes into English characters, which is so amazing. So check out LibriVox. Now, the reason why I said I did a Jane Austen haul on a budget is because I really was on a budget. I did not have a lot of money to spend. I didn't want to spend $30 on a book, although any other time maybe I would, but I just didn't have that luxury to do that this time. So when I went online, I was looking around for different books. I was at the time reading the Kindle version, but also listening to the audio version at the same time. And that made my reading experience on the Kindle a lot better than if I were just reading on the digital device. I'm not much of an ebook person. I really love the feel of a book in my hand. I really love to feel the pages and smell the book. As you know, I really do love that. I love to underline, and granted, you can do that. You can highlight in the Kindle, but the problem is that they've changed it so much that it's hard to find your own highlights. You get like everyone else's highlights from 5,000 different people, and I don't want that. I want to know where mine are, and I sometimes can't find them anymore. So that's one of the things that Kindle has done that's very disappointing. But I was able to at least start reading it until I found my book, like I said. I did a lot of research and I found one that was beautifully illustrated by the world's best reading. And I was really impressed by what the inside looked like. However, this book was really expensive even on eBay. They were asking for like $26 for it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can justify that. I did find one for $18 and I thought, okay, I'll try, maybe I'll get that one. Then I just continued to keep looking and I found Folio. People, Folio. Wonderful. If you have the money, you need to invest in Folio books, especially Jane Austen books. These are gorgeously illustrated books. However, they're about $50, $60. Yeah. Now that might be worth it to some collectors, and that's fine. And then I stumbled upon Marvel graphic novels, and they are the classics. And while those looked pretty fun, they are abridged. The story has been kind of chopped up and down, and then they made it into a comic book type book, which is great. And it might be something that I invest in later down the line when I have read the books and, you know, it's just something fun to read. But I really wanted the real book. So the folio was really expensive, and even this one at $18 was just a little bit too much for me. And so I continued to look for books and continued to read on the Kindle and listen to the audio version on LibriVox. Then I remembered about a website that I fell in love with and started getting a lot of Tavin's books on. It's called discoverbooks.com. discoverbooks.com. Let me tell you that this amazing book, and you can see that it had a sticker here that I tried to get off, and I just need to kind of clean that somehow because it had a little sticky part on it, so I need to clean it off a little bit. But they had this book on their site for $3.48, and they claimed it was in good condition. Just good. People, this is a pristine book. I can tell you the binding wasn't even broken on this. It's still not. It's in pristine condition. So this is the book that I got, and this is the world's best reading edition. So I was really excited to find this. Then I continued to look and I found Emma, and they claimed it was the folio edition, which I was super excited about. I thought, are you kidding me? For $3.48, I'm gonna get that $60 book? I was really super excited about it. And I got this one first. This one came in the mail first, and then this one came like several days later. So I did start reading this, as you can see, and I was waiting desperately for this one. However, there are no illustrations in this one whatsoever. So I was a little disappointed in this version. I was a little disappointed that it wasn't the folio edition. I was a little upset that it wasn't what it said it was going to be. But sometimes that's what happens when you buy discount. You can see the picture, but they don't give you a look inside the book. And if they do, sometimes it will say, especially if you're buying it used, it will say that it's the same book. However, it's probably a different version. You never know what you're going to get when you buy used. So this was a disappointment, but it's going to serve its purpose because I'm going to give it to my best friend Anne because she doesn't have her own version. So I'm going to go ahead and let her have this. Although this is a absolute gorgeous book cover that just, you know, it's just a yellow book. So there's nothing really quite spectacular with this one. So I'll give it to Anne. Not that she's not spectacular, because she is quite spectacular. But let me move on and tell you what else I found. A Jane Austen devotional. Would you look at this book? It is cloth. I'll put it by my microphone. It is cloth bound. It is a hardcover, but it's cloth bound. And it's so incredibly beautiful inside. I'll show you a little bit of the table of contents. Here's the back of it as well. Just so beautiful, Victorian. You get the horse and carriage and the cute, adorable houses and this beautiful framing around the title, A Jane Austen Devotional. Again, I got this at discoverbooks.com, again, for $3.48. Most of their books are about $3.48, and they claim this is in good condition. And the reason why they think so is because, you know, this book was at one time Tracy Lee's book from her mom and dad in 2012. Now, Tracy, I'm not entirely sure what has happened to you in your life, but this was a score and you should have kept it. Mom and dad of Tracy Lee, I'm very sorry, but I scored. So thank you, Mom and Dad of Tracy Lee. Anyway, this book was really important to me because I am beginning to read a lot of Jane Austen books, but I haven't read them all. So I haven't started this book because I know what it is all about. It takes some of Jane Austen's quotes from all of her books and then correlates it with biblical scripture. As you know, Jane Austen was a very devout Christian. She was moral. She had very high virtues and a very good moral code. And she was a very godly woman. And so a lot of her books reflect that time, that feeling, that notion of being morally good and godly and virtuous and righteous before God. So what I love about this is published by Thomas Nelson, and I will show you one of the chapters, Christ's Unconditional Love. Now, the quote is from Pride and Prejudice. You can see that this is taken from the book Pride and Prejudice. And then here is our devotional for the day. And then we have a scripture from the Bible, and here it's from Hosea 2:20. Now, the next book I got is amazing. Okay, 1,443 pages of Jane Austen goodness. In this entire complete collection of Jane Austen, I have Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Northanger Abbey, Persuasion, and Lady Susan. Many people haven't heard of Lazy Susan. Lazy Susan, yeah. Whee! Many people haven't heard of Lady Susan. I never heard of that book. Now, I've known about Jane Austen pretty much all my life. I've known about these books pretty much all my life. I've never seen the movies. I never read the books. But Lady Susan is one I've never read before and never even heard of. And it is actually a compilation of letters. I don't know a whole lot about it because I did take a peek into it, but I decided I didn't really want to dive too much into it and, you know, break the thrill of understanding what it is and reading it and getting to know the story just by reading it instead of peeking through it and getting those bits and pieces that may be spoilers. I don't want to do that. But what I've done is, this was another book. This one was actually $4 and maybe 50 cents, I think. So it was $4.50. And I am actually using this for my reference guide. I'm using it so that I can take all of these notes that I'm making in Emma and Pride and Prejudice. And what I'm doing is, as you can see, I've got my little tabs here again because I'm reading Emma right now and I don't want to write in this beautiful book, which I will show you in a minute. So I'm taking this book here and I'm making this where I can do my underlining, my note taking, I can do my highlighting, things of that nature, so that I can use this as my reference and resource guide for all my Jane Austen needs. So speaking of my Jane Austen needs, I want to tell you about the world's best reading. Right off the bat, you get this gorgeous illustration that is done by C.E. Brock. Now, he was the original illustrator for Jane Austen's books, so you're going to see a lot of these really old-fashioned, beautiful, time-related, time period illustrations that correlate with the story of the book. And of course, you have this gorgeous framing around the title page, and we have Emma written beautifully in this gorgeous all-cap font. And then we have the name Jane Austen, illustrations by C.E. Brock, and Joan Hassel, afterward by Carol Moulton. And again, it's the world's best reading, which is the Reader's Digest Association. What I love about this book so much, and I did actually find this book on discoverbooks.com, but I found it somewhere else for more expensive, as I said, is this page right here. This is really exciting to me. It says, "To His Royal Highness the Prince Regent. This work is, by His Royal Highness's permission, most respectfully dedicated by His Royal Highness's dutiful and obedient humble servant, the author." That right there is enough to drive me nuts. That is the coolest dedication in the world, to the Prince Regent. If you know me, I am absolutely in love with kings and queens of England. So this was really exciting for me. So if you know anything about the book Emma, not just the story Emma, but the actual history behind the book Emma, it's actually a really funny story. The book was actually announced in January 1816. However, the book had already come out several months before that. Many people were already reading it. But it came out in the newspaper as, guess what's coming out now? Emma by Jane Austen, a new novel by Jane Austen. And it had already been out. However, the other really cool thing about this is that the Prince Regent had already read this 3 months in advance before anyone else did. So how cool is that? And then of course we know back in that time period of when she was writing and publishing these books, she was actually not putting her name on there. So whether the Prince Regent actually knew who the author was or not, we don't really know. But that's a cool little tidbit about Emma. Let me show you how gorgeous this book is. I'm going to show you right off the bat the table of contents. And then we have the illustrations page with the quotes that they have underneath it. And this is 3 volumes of Emma. This is the complete story. I don't think that many people break down Emma anyway. So as we begin volume 1, we have this gorgeous illustration letting us enter into Emma's world. Now the real treat here is the colored illustrations that are absolutely breathtaking. whole lot of illustrations in this book, and that's okay. I really did want something fun like Pride and Prejudice from Classics Reimagined. As much as I really would have liked another book like that, this has been really beautiful too. As you can see, it has the gold edging around, the gold lettering on the side. So to me, while Pride and Prejudice with the Classics Reimagined is new and fun, to me this feels like it's old, even though I know it's not that old, but it gives that old time feeling and makes me feel like I'm actually reading a part of history, which I know that I am. But when I was reading Pride and Prejudice with the Classics Reimagined, I felt like I was reading a really fun book that was colorful and jumped out at me. This one makes me think about the time. It really does. And it just makes me feel like I'm holding a really super old book, even though I'm not. As I told you, I didn't have a lot of money, so I really was on a very strict budget. And as I said, I was looking for another book that was comparable to the Classics Reimagined. And if you don't know about Rockport Publishers, then you don't know what you're missing, because they have an awful lot of books that are actually illustrated like Pride and Prejudice. And yeah, I'm just flipping to the pages where there are no illustrations. So as I was on discoverybooks.com, I decided I was going to see if I could find any of those Classics Reimagined, and lo and behold, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Dun dun dun! That's right. It is the Classics Reimagined. As you can see, the size is a lot different. So here's the size of the new ones. These are the newer editions. And of course, as I said, they are flexible. They are soft cover. This is a little bit flexible, as you can see, but it is a hardcover. But it's not one of those hardcovers that, you can't maneuver. Now, this is really cool. Right off the bat, bam! Okay, cue in the Sherlock song. Is that not the best? This is the opening of Sherlock. Okay? So what's really awesome about this book is that it is illustrated just the way that the Pride and Prejudice book was illustrated. Gorgeously, bold colors, gives you that time period feeling like you are right in the story. What I love about this is these are the stories that were in Sherlock on the BBC with, yes, my favorite, Benedict Cumberbatch. Now, I only like Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock. He is a hottie McTottie, but he's only hot when he plays Sherlock. And when he does I'm a Little Teapot.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
If you haven't seen that, you really need to look that up on YouTube, because nobody can do I'm a Little Teapot sexy. I mean, how do you do that? Well, ask Benedict Cumberbatch. Okay, so back to The Adventures of Sherlock. Here is the book, some of the pictures. I'm just going to take you briefly through this book so you can see some of the pictures. Another one of these Classics Reimagined. So there, I just opened a book for you. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the Classics Reimagined by Rockport Publishers. Now, this one is still by Rockport Publishers, but now it is also under what's called Quarto Nose. So I'm not entirely sure if this is a different division of Rockport Publishers or not, but it does still say that it's Rockport Publishers, but then it also says Quarto Nose Publishing. So they may have changed or just started a new division, let's hope, and they will continue making these amazing classics reimagined. And I hope that they do every single Jane Austen book that ever came into existence. Now, as I told you at the beginning, I was going to talk to you about my Jane Austen haul, my bargain haul. Not a haul as in we're, going to a ball in the hall, but a haul, H-A-U-L. Okay, this is my bargain haul of Jane Austen books. I have the devotional, I have 2 books of Emma, which I'm really glad that I did because I did fall in love with this one, and this one was not what I was expecting it to be. And I have the complete novels of Jane Austen. And then keep in mind, I also got The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the classics reimagined, with my Jane Austen bargain haul. Yes, I did. Let me tell you how much I got all of these books for. These beautiful, lovely Jane Austen books and Sherlock Holmes. Let me tell you, $18 for 5 books on discoverbooks.com. Free shipping. Free shipping. Did you hear me? Free shipping on every order. That's if you're in the United States. Now, what's really cool about discoverbooks.com is that if you ordered 3 books, you got 5% off. If you ordered 5 books, you got 10% off. So I got 10% off. Seriously, that's amazing. The more that you order, the more that you can get off. The more that you order, the bigger your discount. So it is really in your interest if you're looking for classic novels to read, even if you're just looking for a book that you love, just check out discoverbooks.com and see if it's on there. I am telling you, I have never had a bad book when it says that it was good. Granted, I got a little bit of a scuff on the corner of this one, a little bit of a rip, but I'm not worried about that because in general, this book is in excellent condition. And there is no writing in this. And this was the most expensive book that I bought. It was $4 for something. So really, I really cannot. Oh, look at the back. It's nighttime now. And look at, I showed you the condition of each and every one of these books. This for $3.48. You cannot beat this price. This is a great way to get books, classic books, especially if you're interested in that, because there were pages and pages of Emma that I had to go through to see what I wanted. As far as Jane Austen goes, there was probably about 15 pages of books available. And then when I saw this one, of course, that's the one I wanted so that I could make notes in and have the entire collection. Now, when I read all the other books, I will be buying the books, but at least I have them here. So if there comes a time where I can't afford to get the book again, I can actually just read it from my entire set of Jane Austen novels, right? And always have a backup plan. Like I did. If you don't get the book that you exactly wanted, you can return it as well, but I was very fortunate to think ahead, and I knew that my friend Anne did not have an Emma book of her own, so I decided that once I got them, I was going to determine which one I liked best and give her the other one. So Anne, here's your book. I hope you enjoy it.